Okay? So we are in the process of educating our children such that, nowhere in history have we had a time where knowledge is so accessible and we use our computer to play game. What a letdown. So we need to use these tools, whether it's IT, okay, or the education system in Singapore, I feel, is to inbuild in our kids a love for learning with integrity. And for me, integrity, character comes with this concern that there are 1.2 billion people who are hungry and 1.2 billion people who are obese in our world. Somewhere, my kid has to find meaning in this. If he doesn't find meaning in this, I need to guide him. This is taken from Online Citizens. You have your own views about Online Citizen. I'm not saying this is gospel truth. Okay, it says that Singapore is one of the highest or the highest income gap in the world. So we have to think about this, right? The world is going to be connected, right? We should not and we cannot keep our kids saying that if you do very well, why study? The commonest answer is get a good job, earn a lot of money, then you'll be okay. They will not be okay, right? One of my privilege of spending the past 15 years in China is that China goes through rapid epochs they jump the of growth. That if we take 30 years, they take 10 years. So they go through the same process as us. Okay, they tell their son, study hard, one son or one daughter, study hard, get to Beida, get to Tsinghua, you'll be okay. Okay. So when I visited this top university, and I talked to the guys, and they say, no, we have been cheated. I say, why have we been cheated for? They say, we studied so hard from Sec 1, from primary 1. And then now we are here, the top university of China. And it's not okay. I say, why is it not okay? So they give me all their answers. Some of them tell me it's not okay because they have no friends. They tell me it's not okay because they don't know what to do after that. The bubble has burst for them. That if you study hard, top. It means if you're top in Fudan, Beida, Tsinghua, you are top, IQ 130. And they say it's not okay. And I learned from that very quickly. And I said, I'm not going to tell my kids to study very hard to get a good job because everything will be okay. I'll tell them it's part of the picture. But integrity, character comes more. So meaning and purpose, okay? Generally, so we say study hard in schools, and that's expressed through exams and tuition so they can have a good job, okay? But that's not all of it. Somewhere along the way, I have to fill up this part. So what is the meaning and purpose? And for me, meaning and purpose comes through friends, through service, through involvement, through doing things. That's why I love the Singapore CCA. A lot of us have complaints about it. But now that my son is in the school running team, now that the school sports is going to be over very fast, right? This year the calendar moved forward so that the kids can take their exams properly. I panic. That's it. I tell my wife, I say, hey, the school running season is over. No? We're going to have this boy at home 4 afternoons a week. No? What are you going to do with him? Right? Every day he's running 8 to 10 km. Then suddenly he come home with all his energy, look at you and look at me. I say, I tell you, it's a volcano waiting to explode. Okay? So, I think somewhere we have to integrate all this. That meaning and purpose of education, right, is about him developing integrity, character, compassion, right? And it comes through exams is one of them, right? The CCA was one. Friendship is one of them. So I take time to help my son or my daughter develop friendships. Okay, that means I will organize board game sessions. At first they will all say it's boring, but when you start playing, it's not boring. Okay, trust me. I will camp with I spent 3 days on Pulau Hantu, lots of sand flights, brought about some teenagers along, right? And I tell you, actually, they are very nice kids. The parents all warn me, hey, my son, a rascal, no, he's a real rascal. I say, actually, on those 3 days, I took one novel and I read it. I just sat by the beach and, read my book. And they were just playing happily. Pulau Hantu, one toilet, no electricity, no computers, nothing to charge. So somewhere it has come together. So why go to school, meaning, purpose, studying exams, all get a good job is somewhere in the picture, but not primary for me. But serving, doing the experience is key. And we parents have to work with the teachers to get the service, doing, the experience correct. Okay, I tell a story about past. This is my mother. Okay. And I come from a very poor family, youngest of 7. And I'm not the brightest in my family. Okay. And from Siglap Secondary School. Okay. I asked my mom whether we had the money to go to JC. And then at that time, junior college was the fad in Singapore, 1970s. Actually, I was supposed to go and work in the vocational, study in the vocational school, get a job and help pay the bills. Right. She said, but I wasn't bright enough to get scholarship because my older brothers and all, they got scholarships, so they could study. So she said, actually, times are a bit better, you can go. So I went, very thankful. And at the end of JC, I signed on in the army as a full-time infantry soldier. And then my A-level results came out. I think my teacher cried, you know. I never went back to Temasek Junior College. I didn't go back to collect my JC result. To me, it was like fail already. Right. And they said, you got very good results. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know where universities were in Singapore. My mother didn't say anything about it. And then my platoon mate took an NUS application form and told me, hey, Lion, study medicine. He got the same score as me. He said, sure get in, man. Your score like that, sure get in. So he helped me fill it up, you know. He's from RI. So much better. Fill everything and I got to medical school. When I got to medical school, I told my mom. She was washing her clothes with a scrub board. I said, Mom, I spoke Cantonese to her. That's why my Mandarin so... I mean, I don't speak Mandarin at home. Mandarin was always like, you know, that's why no mother tongue, okay? My teacher one day took me out of the class. Said, actually, you don't have to come and attend class. This class is going to take OA level 1. You just sit here and I teach you conversational Mandarin. Which is a gone case, okay? So, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to medical school. And she stopped scrubbing the board. And she said, do you really want to go? I said, yeah. I said, well, I don't have the money. But that's not a problem. And she used Cantonese to speak to me. I remember the word saying, 你係我個仔，我唔使你要去讀醫生，我唔使呢個面子啊。Do you understand? Means I don't need the face. 我唔使去巴塞同人講我個仔係個醫生。Say, I don't need the face. I don't need to go to the market or don't need to go to Chinese New Year gathering, when need Chinese New Year or wedding dinners to tell people, say, my son is a doctor. Say, 你係我個仔就係我個仔。You are my son and you are my son. Do anything that is not stressful for you. Because she knows, she saw how I study, she saw how my brother study. She knows that there's a gap. It was so liberating to me. Because when I went to medical school, I found that I had classmates whose parents were esteemed professors and all. And they were actually in medical schools because their parents cajoled them, tricked them. And I loved medical school. I enjoyed it. I knew that whatever those bright kids take 1 hour to learn, I take 2 hours to learn. But it's all right. Because it's so liberating for me. And I want to impart that experience to my kids. Okay? That there is a pursuit for excellence, but it's under an umbrella of freedom. The freedom is, you're my son, or you're my daughter. It is that secure freedom. So I tell a lot of parents, say, Sunday, wow, I go to shopping center, these kids so sitting out there and look through the glass tuition center and the father reading newspaper outside. I don't know the father. I said, I want to go up to him and say, sir, I think if both of us bring our sons to the beach, we go fishing, we play, and at 5 o'clock we tell him, hey son, I really love you, can try harder now. I think it's cheaper and more effective. But it takes a risk. So I learned this from my mom. So I think about learning compassion is important. And one day my daughter, this is in China, came back to me and said, school said donate money because somebody has cancer. I mean, I think Singapore also get things like that. I said, no, we don't donate money. Okay, find out who, why, what. She said, Papa, people just give, I said, no, just go and find out. So she went to find out. I said, oh, it's a girl, never met before, don't know where, suddenly had cancer, flew off from Beijing. I was in Yunnan. Yunnan and Beijing is really, one is first world and one is very different. Huh? So anyway, I said, yeah, now that we know, why don't you write a letter to her and just say that, send her wishes because she's in Beijing somewhere, no friends, and we'll give some money. A year later, when school started, this 70 students per class, this girl limped in. And the only seat was beside my daughter, and so sat down. And then my daughter looked at her and said, so are you the girl in Beijing? I said, yeah, are you the girl who write a letter to me? I said, yeah. So they became very good friends. So compassion is very important. It shaped her whole school experience, my daughter's. Sports day. Sports day came, and that girl, she's amputee, wanted to participate. Walking race. China, they have walking. And the teacher, this is not a criticism of teacher, this is a reflection of who the adults are. The teacher in charge say, hey, but we need to win, no? Our house, our need to win, right? First prize means how many points? 6 points. Second prize means 5 points. It's the same system in Singapore, right? They rank. So if Feng Yin takes part, we will not get the points, no? Because she should end up last. How? It's a reality one. There is a KPI. So the class discussed, they went through the rule book. Something very smart. They went to the teacher, they say, 老师, teacher, it's okay. The rule book says that if we break a record, the points are doubled. So if I take part in 100 meters and I break the school record, instead of 6 points, I get 12 points. So they told the teacher, let Feng Yin walk in the walking race, and they will train hard and break one record. And so Tampa back, 6 points, no problem. Teacher agreed. On the day of the sports day, I think the school had a defining moment where Feng Yin walked in pain. I mean, she's dying. Walk in pain, stop, breathe, stumbled. And the classmates came and held her hand and crossed the line. Teachers cried. That becomes a defining moment for this teenager's life. There's a kind of integrity, compassion, character. They look at the rule books. There's no need to cheat. Okay? And they say, this is the way it should be. We make the rules work for the last. And as parents, I thought, wow, this experience of her being in school, learning compassion, not the rat race. This is what I want to groom the kids to be. I want to encourage them, to empower them, to engage. It's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. And that's what we are here for as parents. We are not perfect parents. I mean, none of us are. Right? My kids will say, why are you so like that? Right? And we talk and we create times where we communicate with each other. Okay? So go camping. Right? I tell my friends, I say, don't wait. By the time you are K2 and they are used to air-conditioned holiday, maybe too late. Don't think that it's very important to go Disneyland. Disneyland is for the adults. Okay, you bring your kids there, they're tired, they're grumpy, they're hot, I tell you it's a waste of your money. Right? Go Disneyland, I say, as teenagers and adults. That's the fun part. Okay? Like, as you go Disneyland when they're young, or half the time you're holding their hand, queuing up to buy drinks. No, don't need that. Right? But really, the defining moments, when I came with my son, at least once or twice a year, under the stars, he would tell me all the things, his struggles. I know when they were very young, I asked him, so do you want to be a good boy? The answer is, yes. When they become a teenager, the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Right? And I ask him, so what you don't know about? And they will tell you. Right? And I will listen. So the schools in Singapore provides this scaffolding, this structure. And for me, I look at it, I look at the choices, I look at all the choices. Okay? From ITE, vocational schools, polytechnic, university, sports school, I look at all the choices. I talk to the other parents about it. And I said, let's take the the face away out of it, and say, which choice will allow my kid at 20, 21 years old to be like that leopard or that mountain lion ready to go? And which choice will give him, hey. There's no perfect choice, okay? There's no perfect choice. But I look at these two and I say, yeah, okay? Whether you want to use psychologist tests, pastoral counseling, grandmother's experience, listen to them, and then look at your own family, finance, personality, IQ, gifts and talents, and say, this number of choices in Singapore, which one will allow my son or my daughter that at the end of for 4 more years of schooling, ready to... I don't read Chinese, so what is this? After this, I'll open up for question and answer, okay? This story, I love it, okay? About a general who went hunting, powerful archer. And in the misty hills, he saw a tiger and he shot it. When he went there, it wasn't a tiger, it was a rock. And all his troops said, wow, your arrow penetrated deep into the rock. How do you do that? Show us again. And he did it, tried to show the soldiers, but the arrow bounced off again and again. Never penetrated the rock again. So his friend, a scholar, told him, when you first did it, you did it with your strength and with your heart. You wanted to hunt the tiger. Not very green, okay? This China long time ago can hunt tiger, now cannot. You wanted to hunt the tiger, and you did it. The second time around, you just wanted to show your strength. There was no spirit involved. There's no reason. There's no vision. You just want to show that you can penetrate the rock with your arrow for your troops, and so you cannot do it. So the story for me, the lesson for me is when I bring my kids through the educational system in Singapore, I want the spirit, not the rock. I want to work with the teachers such that they provide the hardware. I, as a parent, come alongside. The teachers will also provide the software. I wish we had a way that can promote teachers because they visited kids at school. At home. The challenge in many of our schools when their students not performing are actually home-based issues. I have an NUS prof who visits the students in a medical school when not performing well and actually talks to their parents because the parents are struggling in relationship. And I tell you, these students will always remember this prof who came in the middle of the night and said to the parents and say, what can we do?